Hello, my name is Sophia. I am 15 years old and I am in year 10.
Hi, my name is Milo. I'm 14 years old and I'm also in year 10. Today we're doing an interview with Dimitri Malignan, a pianist, and we're going to be asking him questions about his professional life, social life, and personal life.
I hope you like the video.
Okay, so the first question, if you had one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One meal. That's a complicated question. Like already I have to choose, which type of cuisine, like from which country, which is already a very hard choice to make.
Yeah.
Probably I would go, for Italian food, probably pasta carbonara. Probably that's
I could see the joy on Milo's face.
just background information. I'm half Italian, so.
Okay.
Do you have any hobbies outside of piano?
Yeah, I do actually. So I love tennis. So I've been playing tennis since I was a kid, and I still really much enjoy watching on TV, following all the games and playing myself from time to time. So I practice meditation also every day, some Qigong, which is also some sort of Chinese, movements and some sort of gymnastics, and Feldenkrais, which is also a routine, like with slow and very small movements. So I practice a lot all these. Qigong and Feldenkrais is a bit similar, so it involves slow and small motions, and it's really great actually for musicianship, when you all these pains a bit everywhere, of course, when you practice.
Yeah, another question. So when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I would say actually quite early. So from the time I was 10, 11 years old, I sort of wanted to become a musician, a pianist. Because I liked it a lot, I liked playing at the piano, and people around me, like my teachers and so on, they told me that I was also good, so I could, pursue, going to conservatory, etc. So I liked it from an early age. So I really, from that time, I never sort of thought about doing anything else, and probably before I was 10. I mean, I don't remember clearly, but usual boys, things. You want to be a firefighter, you want to be a pilot, you want to be a spy or something. But from an early age, I would say I wanted to become a musician.
What composer's music do you not enjoy playing? And is there any
Not enjoy
reason why?
playing?
Yes.
It's a good question, because generally I would say, of course, I like the music of all composers mostly,
Yeah.
But there are indeed some composers where I feel, I enjoy listening. I enjoy, listening to other pianists play their music, but not necessarily myself. And I would say probably Franz Liszt. Somehow I never got the, I played, of course, especially when I was younger, but I wouldn't say it's my strong, it's not my forte at all. And there are for sure other pianists who play it much better than me. So for now, I don't really enjoy Liszt. I would say I have a difficult relationship with Schubert as well.
What genres of music do you listen to outside of classical?
I would say for a very long time I was really like conservative, and I was sort of very serious about listening only to classical music. But so for some years now I've been, because also it's not, I think it's not sane to only be so close minded. So I started to a bit expand my interests, and I would say I listen a lot to like music from the 80s, 70s. I would say, like, for example, as a band, I love Queen, for example.
Queen is great. Freddie
It's
Mercury.
very it's very comparable to classical music, in the way it's written, so perfect, so the text, the music, the musicians, and everything. So yeah.
I really love Queen. I actually have the same birthday as Freddie Mercury, so to me it's
Uh-huh.
that extra little punch.
And I mean, he was one of the most amazing musicians, simply, who ever lived. So for sure, I admire them.
All right, here's my personal favorite question.
Okay.
What is the worst style choice you've ever made for a performance?
Style choice, like
Yes.
in terms of like aesthetic.
Like the worst like fashion decision you've made for a performance?
You mean in what I'm wearing?
Yes.
I think I forgot my concert socks. So I performed. I had, I was traveling, so I had, regular socks for every day, which are usually very colorful. But for a concert, it was maybe not the right fit. So I remember I had this sort of orange socks with like stripes and everything. So it was a bit of a contrast with like the dark, black suit.
Do you remember what you were playing when you had the orange socks?
Must have been like a Haydn sonata, I think.
Oh, okay, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, it worked,
Yeah.
For Rachmaninoff concerto, maybe it wouldn't be so great, but for this sort of lighter music, it
Yeah.
worked.
Let's say that you are at a bar with your friends and they call you up to sing karaoke. What song would you pick?
Okay. So I've tried to avoid anytime, going to karaoke with friends. It happened a few times. I tried not to sing, but let's say it would happen and, I would win $1 million singing a song to my friends. I would probably go like for a stupid sort of French pop song, that sort of everyone knows.
Yeah.
I don't know, some Claude François or something, Alexandra, something like this, that probably I know the lyrics well. So something very idiotic like this, very brainless.
Maybe next time you should tell your friends that they have to pay you $1 million to get you to
Yeah,
sing.
exactly. Because I have a terrible voice as well, I remember when I was taking all these solfeggio classes, when I was a teenager, and you had like to sing, And in France, actually, I don't know how it's in your countries, but in France, it's really hardcore, when they ask you to sing. Like you really have to sing like leader and like proper melodies, Debussy songs, stuff which is really hard, actually. And I remember, my voice range was like maybe, an octave, not more than that. Like I really cannot sing properly, so it was really sort of traumatizing to have to do this. So since then, I try to avoid, showing my voice to other people.
Next for the piano-related questions, would you like to start, Milo?
Yep. All right. So, roughly, how many hours of your day are spent practicing?
So I would say like of effective practice, practice you actually know you are doing something productive. I would say 4 or 5 hours per day. Because I know that some colleagues, some other people, they'd say, I practice like 7, 8 hours, whatever. But really, I noticed along the years, like you cannot practice effectively for 7, 8 hours. Like it's impossible to have physically and mentally your abilities at 100% for that amount of time. You are totally dead already after 4 or 5 hours.
What do you think has been your best performance and what made it special?
Yeah, I've had several of them, of course. It's very difficult to know exactly why a good performance was a good performance. It's very random sometimes because you practice as much, for different performances. You play sometimes the same pieces, but still the perception of it, it's not the same, and objectively, it's of course not the same. So I've had some good performances for sure in my life. Usually it happens like maybe once, twice a year where you really feel. Basically what happens is that of course you have total control, like you know exactly what you have to do. And more than that, so you don't, of course you're not stressed about what you should do, but more than that you have the feeling that you can do anything. More, you have this sort of moments when you're at the keyboard and you have this feeling that, if I want to do that, I can. There is no restraint, there is nothing holding you back. Sometimes in performances you are a bit sort of stiff and you want just to control what you are doing and what you should do. So you are not trying anything else. But when you have this sort of very floaty moment where you can do anything and it works, and it's actually also stylistically, of course, correct. You're not doing random things, but it works in the music. These are the great performances for sure. You can look back to. Yeah.
So now, where do you find inspiration? Like, are there any pianists and performances or composers that you look up to specifically?
Yeah, for sure. It depends a bit on the periods. Like you have some periods where you listen more to a composer than another. So I would say now I try to listen less and less to like piano solo music. So I listen more to chamber music, I listen more to symphonic music.
Well, I was looking through your website and it looks like you have quite a lot of performances coming up this year. How do you feel about them? Do you have any particular one that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, definitely. It's so especially after this whole pandemic period where we couldn't do much. So now it's great to have finally a more or less full agenda. So for this season, with regular performances, every week or so. So it's great. It's very varied. I have very different repertoires I have to play this season. Also a lot of chamber music. So it's quite great. I had a very nice concert last week in Romania. It was a very great event. And I have some cool concerts in France, some festivals. So yeah, definitely looking forward to all of that.
Do you have any tips or words of advice for aspiring musicians or pianists?
Yeah, I'm still trying to find advice for myself, most of the time. I still have so many things to learn, but I'd say to really be curious, about all the, to put it like, not to be close-minded about learning the whole process of being a musician, So I know it's still, a sort of old-fashioned way to have like only, for example, only one teacher and to sort of listen to only what that teacher says, which can be good, if the teacher is good, great, but for sure you can take inspiration from other teachers from time to time who would say something interesting for a specific aspect, and then another teacher something interesting for another aspect, and then you sort of make your own salad, which is what I'm trying to do more or less now. And
what has been the best part of you having piano as your career?
For sure, all the travels, like meeting so many people around the world, seeing so many concert halls everywhere, so many different pianos, many different audiences, cultures, airports, museums, whatever, For sure, I love traveling. I love discovering all these new places. So that's for sure one thing that I love about my job.